Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist, a weekly web show where me and my pal Alex talk about trying to be self-employed artists and our trials and tribulations of the week, our failures and successes, our treasures and our curses, and some other thing to go with the fucking things I'm saying. Anyways, I had a pretty darn good week. I don't know about you, but my week's been pretty good.
That's good.
But how have you been?
So good about it.
So good about it. I got everything done that I wanted to get done. That's it. That's a good week when you're like, okay, I need to get these things done. If I can get these things done at the end of the week, I'll be happy. And I got them done. I'm happy. And I even ran into a bunch of problems, but it wasn't a big deal because I fixed them and it was okay. My printer got clogged up. It made a big fucking mess. There's a bunch of fucking filament.
Spaghetti mess?
Yeah, but the whole thing was clogged. So I had to replace the boating tube, the feeding tube or whatever. I had to change the nozzle and then the top bit. I just changed everything because I was like, I'm just gonna change everything because if I change one thing and then put it back together and still fucks up, I'm gonna.
You got to do it anyways, and it's it's just good to do.
Yeah, and it's just I'm just gonna replace everything just so everything's peachy, and it works so smoothly. Every time something bad happens, I just replace everything. It goes back to normal, and it just runs so nicely. I really want to get a new printer because this thing, I don't know. It's great and all, and it's cheap, but it's just it'd be nice if it just, it wasn't so much fucking around to do here and there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't know what to tell you, man. My printer is way more expensive than yours, and it's just as finicky, dude. I swear, it's just as much of a fucking problem.
I watched a really interesting video call from a YouTube channel called Gamer Geek Games, I believe it is, and he does a lot of 3D printing stuff. And he did a little video because he has a Prusa and he has an Endor 3, or he also has a Endor the one before
Five?
that, the bigger one. Yeah, the fifth one.
CR10.
I can't remember, but anyways, he was just he's been using them for a while now, and he does say the Prusa, it's a higher quality, and he just doesn't have to fiddle with it as much, right? And I trust him because he's a very humble, just very run of the mill kind of this is my thing, and kind of thing, and I trust his opinion on stuff. So it'd be nice to get a Prusa, but who knows? Maybe I'll probably, get a fucking resin printer. Got submitted a model to my mini factory. Got approved, and so that's for my push for the Kickstarter page, the follow page.
Oh yeah, so you're launching the page with a free model. That's the idea?
Yeah, that's the idea. Well, I'm launching a free model that's attached to the Kickstarter launch page, and then also the mailing list, right? So it's another push for mailing list, and then this is the first push for the Kickstarter page. So that will be going live Wednesday evening or Thursday morning. So this week.
Sweet.
And yeah, so it's fucking weird. I was getting really fucking stressed because I had so much work to do. But then I was like, you know what, Antoine? Just fucking if you're stressed out right now and you want to get this thing out, just cut a couple models. So that's what I did. There's a couple models I wanted to do. I was like, you know what? I don't think that this model is gonna make or break the Kickstarter, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. So there's a few models where I'm just like, see ya, I'm not going to do this.
De-scope. You can always decide to do them again. So it's
it's true.
Kind of alleviates your pressure.
So there's 3 models that I got rid of. That were pretty big models too. Actually, no, 4 models. 4 models that I got rid of, and now I like since I like told myself that, like I've just felt so much more calm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I've been there too. Like I felt sometimes it's like I got so much shit to do, and then you start thinking about, well, okay, which order should I do all this shit in? And you're like, oh, that's pretty important. This is pretty important. That's pretty important. And I find like when I get stuck in that, and I just start building up a well of anxiety as I mull around it in my head, I just like I kind of just stop thinking, and I just like, oh, I know I need to do this. I'm just going to do this right now. I'm just going to get it done, and I'm not going to think about all the other shit I have to do until I'm done this thing again. And then I just keep doing that until I get to the point where it's like, no, I don't. Okay, now what exactly should I do next? Like, it's not obvious that there's something I need to do. And it's like, you just keep going without all the thought of like, it's like, you're your own manager, right? And a manager typically has no ability to like complete the work themselves, but they're on the hook for it, so they stress about it, and you're like that person, but you're also the person who does the work. And the person who does the work is just like, hey, well, back to work,
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think when that happens, you're like, you've got the wrong hat on at that moment. You're like, I need to take my manager hat off and put the worker hat on for a little bit. And well, you got to a spot where it's like, oh, this is too much. It's, you got that feedback loop where this is too much work for right now. I need to put it down. So, I mean, that's good to identify what can you cut? Like, where can I trim the fat on this thing?
Your glasses look crazy right now. There's like 4 monitors in your glasses. The reflection.
Yeah, why are there 4? Where's my 4th monitor?
And I think that's the window.
My 3rd monitor.
Yeah, it looks like you have 4 monitors. I don't know. It's just like double reflection.
Oh yeah, it is my window.
Yeah, it's those crazy glasses of yours. Where do you get all these fucking mugs? Look at that fucking crazy thing.
I got this from like my mom. It's a cat.
It's like sticking. It's so absurd.
I know, right?
That would make me upset because I would like put them in the cupboard and they would like wouldn't fit properly. And, like,
no, it kind of does, because it's like mugs are usually round, so you just tuck the nose into the wedge.
Usually, aren't they always round?
Oh, sometimes they're square ones, but we
those are the worst.
Round ones.
You gotta drink out of the corner.
Yeah. Round is the way to go. Square is just
maybe an octagon would be pretty acceptable, I guess.
Yeah. I mean,
but
I don't know.
You don't know.
It's already, the optimal design has already been designed.
Yeah, dude. This has nothing to do with fucking art, but so yesterday I really wanted a cup of coffee, so I went out and bought some coffee, because buying an individual cup of coffee is like a waste of money, right? Because it's just so expensive for how much liquid you get compared to buying coffee grains or coffee beans.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been drinking coffee. Like here, I stopped drinking coffee for about almost 2 months, and I was like, oh, it'd be really nice to have like just like a cup and a half. You know what I mean? Like, it'd just be nice. And I did that at 12 o'clock, and I just had total anxiety, and I couldn't sleep the night. Like last night was pretty rough to go to sleep, but I was getting coffee.
Was that 12 lunchtime or 12?
Yeah, lunchtime. Yeah, not 12 o'clock in the not in the morning, you silly goose.
Okay.
But yeah, I was getting coffee sweats that like night. Like for some reason, it just like stayed dormant, and all like the coffee stuff that you usually get just like washed over me in the middle of the night at like 7 o'clock, and it sucked, and I just was getting anxiety, and I was just like, I think I'm done with coffee. I think I'm gonna stick with tea now, decaf.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I go off and on with coffee. Like I switched to tea, like it was a couple weeks before my last, my couple last work weeks before,
that's right,
and everything. And it was just like, I don't know. It's just a stressful time, and coffee was just giving me the jitters. So I mean, tea still has caffeine. I don't even know if it's the caffeine, or maybe it's just the thought of coffee being the stimulant that we're all used to, and it plays a trick on you and placebos up some jitters.
Placebo. Coffee's definitely not a placebo.
But
coffee does
I know that, but like the placebo is that the caffeine in tea isn't as jittery for me. I think it's like
Well, you ever thought about
fact that I
maybe it's
switched.
just a very small amount?
Tea typically has more than coffee. Is the weird thing.
Are you sure about
and
that?
If, and if you're having an espresso,
Well, that's not tea. That's completely different. What are you talking about?
no, I know. I'm talking about coffee.
Do you put stuff in your tea?
No, I'm saying usually when I drink coffee, it's an espresso, which has even less caffeine than a cup of coffee. Like if you go buy a cup of coffee.
Really? That's how it works? I thought espresso...
Well, it's concentrated, but it's not very much. And I'm pretty sure I'm not making it up.
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Well, the one thing I know for sure is that coffee actually, in a lot of people, it produces cortisol. Cortisol? Yeah, cortisol. And cortisol, too much cortisol gives you anxiety and actually stresses out your body, believe it or not. So
yeah,
I think it might be some of that going on. But I'm done. I'll drink my chamomile and my ginger tea. Chamomile. But yeah, I think I'm done with the coughs. The coffee is
yeah, chamomile's good.
Yeah.
I vouch for that drink. Me and that drink go way back.
Fucking it's a weird thing to, I don't know, it's just like, it's almost like it's a silly looking flower. It's like the flower you draw when you're a kid. It's like simple petals in a yellow circle, you know? And then someone decide just to grab that shit and like put it in a pot of boiling water and drink it, you know?
Yeah. Well, they'll put anything in. They'll try anything. Dandelion tea I'll even drink. It's kind of gross, but I don't know. It's also kind of good.
It probably cures scurvy or something.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
You can tell there's a lot of nutrition in it or whatever's in it. It just tastes very potent.
It just tastes very potent.
Yeah. So, hey, have you seen Danny's got a new Kickstarter up and he's killing it?
Ages ago. I backed it. And,
oh, did you?
Yeah, I backed it. And I could probably write it off on my taxes too, because I could just label it as research.
Sure, you could. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to write it off a lot.
I know freelancers that will like buy game consoles like a Nintendo Switch, and they can put that under as like research, because they could just be like, well, I'm a freelancer, I need to like stay with the whatever, you know what I mean? Or like, here's one thing, like if you do work on, let's say your TV, like you hook up a laptop to your TV and you work on it, then you can be like, well, I'm gonna write that off because I use it for work sometimes. Like there's so much like weird things you can write off in your taxes. Very, very strange.
Yeah, hardware is really annoying to write off because you can't just you don't just add it and then it comes off your income like most things.
Yeah.
It's like you write off a percentage over the course of several years.
I think there's two options though. I think there's the one option you just talked about. Look at us, we don't know fucking anything about taxes, and we're like trying to give advice about it. We're not even giving advice. We're just being blowhards, just shooting the shit. There's two things you could do. You can do that thing, what you just said, like a percentage.
I know you can do that. I know you have to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know about this other thing that you're talking about, but go ahead.
You can write the whole thing off, but it's in the long run you won't write off as much or something like that. I
don't know if you can do that. I don't know if that's an option. Because if it was, I would just do that. Just for simplicity, I would just do it.
Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Maybe I'm just full of shit as usual.
I'll look it up. Again, my taxes are going to be so crazy this year with like,
dude, fucking
all
my
the
taxes,
micro expenses. Well, no, yours are like, I mean, at least all your income. I guess you do have some trickling in month to month, right?
But stuff. Yeah. And I do have like weird, like little tiny expenses that I like.
Yeah,
you know, miniatures and paint and filament, different internet things like my internet, NordVPN. What else? Like buying like brushes, like ZBrush brushes. Just all these little tiny things, you know.
Yeah. You're just having to go through your credit card statements or your
I actually
debit statements or whatever.
I keep all my receipts. And then, you know, when the bank gives you like a receipt of like all your all your purchases that month,
Yeah.
I take it and I just like circle each thing.
Excellent. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Perfect.
Like my phone bills, my internet bills, and like any purchases or whatever. Yeah. So that, but what I should do is I should open a business account and have like a business credit card, and then I just have kind of all ciphers into that, and so like I could just like kind of store it like a lot easier. But fucking business accounts, like they charge you so much to withdraw, and they charge you so much to like put money in the account. It's fucking weird. I don't know why.
Like I was saying, I don't know if you need one like for the stage you're at.
Yeah,
right? It's not like, because think about
I'm
a
not
business
making like
account.
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. You don't have staff you need to pay out of it. You don't have like these crazy overhead building expenses where you need a massive like debt range. You know what I mean? Like, if you're in a business, you may need to just fork over like $50K in a month, and you don't want that to bounce, right? So you need like way more play than you and I, who are just, we're just buying board games and whatever. And it's like we're spending a kind of just like a regular man's fun time income on this business stuff, right? So I think if you just got a regular credit card, just for organization, I'm sure you would do just fine.
Yeah, I don't think I'm even going to break 30,000 this year.
If that's the case, then like, like you'll probably deduct yourself to a point where it's like you're not paying any taxes at all. I'm sure. I doubt you'll pay any taxes at all.
Yeah, I think I'll probably make a little bit more. Well, I'm just looking at my mini factory money that I've made like through the months, and stuff like that, and it's about almost 4,000 American. So that's like
great. So this is everything after Kickstarter. It's another 4K. That's beautiful.
No, that's American, so it's even more, right?
Yeah, that's great, man. Because when did you launch?
Maybe March. So
so it's almost. I mean, you're getting close to paying rent with that kind of stuff. So
So I was gonna say, maybe 25,000 this year, I guess.
Yeah.
But
there's still time. Still a couple months here.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Wow. But the thing is, like, if I make more money, I probably won't withdraw it from my mini factory, so I don't have to technically. Do I have to write that off technically? Because it's technically not. I don't have the money. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
If it's in the my mini factory account, I don't think you have to. It's not because they haven't really given it to you.
Yeah.
Once it's in your account.
Yeah, like my PayPal account or stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's when like the transaction fees occur, and that's when it's. Yeah,
I know what you mean. I gotcha. But
I'm not an accountant either.
That's true. You should
disclaimer. Full disclaimer. Don't listen to me.
I've been printing like a mofo. There's a lot of stuff being printed. I printed this one thing for 5 hours, and then I took executive. Why am I putting a Z in there? Executive. I'm still not saying that right. This is why I draw in 3D model things. I don't speak for a living. Executive decision to stop the print when it was 5 hours in, and to redesign it a bit because it's this platform. It's like a big platform. There's 4 pillars in each corner, and then there's like a bigger piece that you can add on later. But what I was finding that like the whole print's like 8 hours long, but what I was finding that once the print was getting to the pillars, it was taking so long for the print head to get to each corner, and there was a little bit of stringing happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is stupid. I'll just cut the pillars off and make the pillars individual pieces, and then you plop them in with clips, right? With the open lock clips.
Yeah.
And then, so that means printing time will be less, and you won't get all this stringing. You'll have a higher quality print. So, So I'm still kind of like messing with the core set, which is okay because like that just means like I have more knowledge and I'm making more making better stuff for my my potential backers.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another.
That's good.
Another thing.
Got to get through those pains. I mean, it's testing, right? It's iteration. So
yeah, I don't really see it as pains because it kind of opened a new opportunity to like make a different add-on to it. So now these pillars can be removed, right? So now I can like add these like cool pillars, like different pillars on it that doesn't have to interact with the initial thing that goes on top, right? So I can, I have another excuse to make a stretch goal, but it's not as big. It's a little smaller, but it's still a stretch goal,
Yeah, that's cool. It's like another like type of asset that you can kind of expand on if you need to, just get more content out there. Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Stoked.
What about you, man? So you've been off, right? You've mentioned that already. You've been off
yeah, this is my first weekend unemployed in 6 years, roughly, and feels pretty good. I took it easy first couple days, starting to get back into it during the week now, try to be productive during the week. I've got a couple things going on. I've been got this collaboration with a patron of mine he's just like really engaged on all the social media platforms at things I 3D printed on Instagram, and he had a really cool idea to do a collaboration. So I've been just supporting him with some stuff, and we're going to do like just another giveaway on our pages together. And I think it's pretty cool. It's like, because he's really enthusiastic about everything. He's putting a lot more effort into it's two people's effort into the giveaway. So it's going to be way cooler than the last one I did. And he's got a lot of cool ideas. We printed out one of the neat things we did is like I took my logo and I made it 3D, and then I took my horse and that I had modeled, not from the release, but my old Rook kind of chess piece horse. Yeah. And then I put a negative in the bottom. So now it's like we made a wax stamper, and we're gonna make these cool packages of like Tiger Skull minis and Tiger Skull stat sheets. And I can't remember if there was, and I'm gonna put some card packs in there too. And we're gonna give away 3 of these, and there's gonna be this cool like wax seal, this Tiger Skull wax seal on the top. So it's gonna be kind of a fun, just fun giveaway, I think.
That's
and
cool.
He's getting pretty close to 2,000 Instagram followers, so I think it'll be kind of a nice landmark for him, and it'll hopefully give me a little boost as well. But yeah, I don't know. It's like my Instagram's going up, but Patreon's kind of just like staying the same, 150, 160, which is fine, because I think if I were doing this full time, I would be a little bit more worried about it. But because I'm just trying to get the work out, and the people who are on there are really happy with it, I'm okay with that. But I don't know, like I'm wondering, okay, like there's definitely things I could be doing that other Patreons are doing, like collaborating more with people, really like, paying people to support your figures. And I don't know, there's an endless amount of work you could expand onto, but I just wonder if like, I still just won't kind of take a step back and think like, okay, all the work I've done for Tiger Skull so far, it's like I've made roughly 20 miniatures all in all, through all my plus a bunch of other extra art. And I thought, okay, if I did all this stuff and I put it into a Kickstarter, like how much would that make? And I have a feeling it would be more than the like 8,000 or whatever that I've made on Patreon. So I'm like really honestly, like I'm still doing the Patreon, I'm still enjoying it, and I have lots of ideas for like the next few releases, but I'm like we were saying, the manager in my head is really thinking, hey, should we take a step back and maybe instead of doing Patreon, like do work towards a Kickstarter, and all this work might actually kind of be more use, like it might be a better place to put the stuff. So I don't know. That's what I've been thinking about lately. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about it.
Well, you said a bunch of things there. You said like do more collabs and do more things that other other Patreons
Yeah.
do, and then doing a Kickstarter. So I would say the first thing, I would say if you were doing it full time, you'd probably offer more and you'd probably promote more. So you'd probably see numbers go up. And if you did do a collab, I would say you'd do a collab with a YouTuber, right? A miniature painter, right? That also does some 3D printing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or some sort of podcast maybe or something like that. Like do it like a sponsorship or whatever, and like I don't know, shill out, maybe negotiate and shill out a couple doll hairs.
Yeah.
To those YouTubers, you know, and
Yeah.
that's that. And then for the Kickstarter thing, I would say, well, you've mentioned this before, where you're like, I'd really like to like work on a Kickstarter, but then also
Want to do both, right?
yeah, you want to do both. Which I don't know. It's hard to say and kind of like spitball the whole thing, because I've never been through that, you know, working on a Patreon and then also doing a Kickstarter. You know what I mean? The only thing I have right now is like just trying to do these Kickstarters and then doing off sales, right?
Yeah.
So
doing one
I don't
is
know.
a lot of work. You know, even what I'm doing on Patreon,
Well-
honestly, is like more work than I have time to do, because you know Sam's helping out quite a bit. Like
Yeah,
I'm
Sam is helping
I'm really pushing it.
Well, you got a full-time job too, right? So like if you took the full-time job, well, right now you don't have a full-time job. If you took the full-time job out of the equation, it opens, you know, you open up literally 8 hours in 5 days of your week. You know what I mean? So eight times 5, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
that's
no, I hear you, man.
It's a lot.
But
That's
it's
so
not
that's
like,
so much I can't calculate it because I'm a dumb artist.
but even still though, it's like I feel like if I was doing this full time, I don't know if I would be doing it like, okay, 8 hours during the day and then my 4 hours during. I don't know if it's so like additive like that. If it just
It isn't. And also, people that work at jobs don't actually work 8 hours a day unless it's like, I don't know, like a very manual. If it's a very manual job or like a service job, it's probably 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? But when it's a stinky artist office job, there's plenty of times where you're just kind of like, you know, you talk a bit, or you got to meet a meeting, so you're not really working. You're just kind of like not negotiating, but I guess.
Well, yeah, it's different kind of work, right? Your brain is doing something totally different than.
And I'm one of those artists that, you know, kind of like, you know, there's, you know, a podcast going on or a video to be watched.
Yeah.
Or and you just kind of linger a bit. And what I'm trying to say is I wasn't the most ideal member to be working at a game studio. And I've said this before on the old podcast, where like the most work I'll get in a day is like 6 hours or more.
I still think it comes down to the individual though. Like we've had, I know when I was working like on PVZ and it was like peak production, like two of our most productive artists, they had a video going on all the time, but they were also at their desk. You know, they weren't up chatting. They weren't up doing this or that. You were doing both, I guess. You're chatting and watching the videos. So I don't know. I got
my work done. But this is the thing, though. Then it's like, well, if you got your work done, then there's always more work to be had.
Yeah, they'll give you just get more work.
Yeah.
Which is like, you know, whatever. When I'm at work, I'm work. I'm kind of excited about that, to be honest. Like,
about what?
Oh, just like, you know, because I'll be working at somewhere else again, and just like the kind of, I'll be kind of a new kind of. I'm gonna, you know, when you're like it's gonna be a little bit like first day of jiu-jitsu. You're gonna be kind of the student again. You're the new one. You don't know anything, and you just kind of learn, and it's just a good headspace to be in. Like, I really love doing shit you're not good at that with
I don't.
kind of as a student, like sometimes when I have to like,
I know what you mean, though.
Expectation of me, I don't like doing that. But when
Yeah.
there's no expectation and it's like, oh, I'm gonna go like play volleyball and I'm the junior, you know, I don't know what I'm doing. Like as long as people aren't yelling at you and you're having fun, it's actually, I think, in a way, a lot more fun than doing something that where your ego is engaged, because you can't really have an ego when you suck at something so bad. And so that's all that's left is just you're just learning and enjoying and having fun. So I feel like, I don't know, there's going to be some of that, but I don't know, I guess I don't know, I'm just pretty confident in like the kind of work that I'm doing.
Fair enough, God.
And I feel like this Patreon is really just training me. I feel like I've never been faster. I've never been like more efficient with like just creating shapes, like getting from A to B. I just feel like so ready to, I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting more introverted, I feel too. Like, cause I'm more used to sitting down and doing this thing. My head is like in 3D land more often, even outside of just when I'm talking to people.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I will stop and think about.
Yeah. It's silhouette things where like I'll be like looking at shapes like of buildings or just like stuff like, I don't know, a reflection or whatever, and I'm just like, and then it just brings up a piece in my head. I'm like, oh, that'd be a cool piece, or like, oh yeah, the piece I'm working on, it looked like kind of like that, or whatever. It's just always in there bouncing around.
Yeah. It's crazy the amount of inspiration that's out there when you start looking at it and you start seeing things that you kind of want or need to see for your work. Even just around our little New West area here, I would see like, oh, that plant, I think that plant looks pretty, like I could see that being in the wild, and I could imagine being able to model it pretty quickly. You know, some plants are easier than others. So it's like, I'll pick this plant that I know exactly how I would model it really quick. And I'm going to use that as just like some background element. And it's like, I would never have that exposure, even searching through Pinterest. It's so like, I don't know, it's like a very, even though Pinterest is like my go-to for reference, it's like the most sterile way to like absorb the world. It's like the most boring and soulless way to absorb the world, next to maybe Google Images, I guess. But like, yeah, just even going for a walk and even though it's not like crazy surroundings, it's probably still more useful than.
Does it come to you when it's like when you least expect it? You know what I mean? Like you're not even trying to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Like I'll just kind of be enjoying like the sun and be like last Sunday, I thought it was Monday. I was walking on the quay there, like the discount seawall, I like to call it. I thought it was Monday, and I was like, why the fuck is there so many people out? It's like, it's nice to see people, but like there's so many people out on Monday. Like, don't these people have jobs? Like, what the hell? But it was actually Sunday. But yeah, I'm just enjoying my walk, just enjoying the fucking fall, you know, like the leaves are changing. There's a brisk, like cold, you know, breeze, and the sun's out, and it's like, it's nice. And yeah, and then it just kind of lingers in. It just kind of kind of shows up. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh yeah, that thing. Okay, cool. All right. Well, once I get back home, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. It helps me live in a really old city too. Like New West is one of the oldest cities in BC, and like some of the architecture is still antiquated enough that it's made out of stone, and it's like, oh, that's kind of useful actually to see how this bank, you know, how the pillars interact and where the supporting pillars are and just what the arches look like. You know, you could, it's close enough to kind of this fantasy world that like if I just strip out all the modern like signs and blah blah blah, I can actually make a pretty convincing like structure out of it that, you know, fits in with my characters and stuff. So I really value that too. Fair enough. You might not get that anywhere, but I think you'd be surprised, like just walking around. Even in like when we were in San Francisco, that was like super. Like Gavin and I went on a huge walk. It was like 25 kilometers just through the city, and you just see some of it's older, some of it's newer, and some of it's so old. Like they had like tunnels going through, like just like cutting. I don't even know what they were used for, to be honest. Just like tunnels that's like you could walk around this mound of grass on the sidewalk, or you could go through this tunnel of brick, and it's really scary in there. But it's like that kind of shit is like
Scary,
really
like
inspiring.
homeless and drug addict scary, or like just
No,
dark and scary?
It was like it was in a very public area that was like, I don't know. There wasn't very many homeless or anything like that, but it was just spooky to go in somewhere and you walk in and you can see the light at the end, but once you're in there, there's no lights. It's just really dark.
Oh wow!
And you're like, oh, this is kind of like probably what life was like for a lot of people back in the day. But I don't know, it's little things like that.
Fair enough.
You gotta get out there somewhere.
Jeepers.
Yeah. So
I am so excited to finish this Kickstarter. I don't know. I get so what's the word I'm looking for? I'm always wanting to do different things all the time. You know what I mean? Like it takes a lot of effort to like stick with one thing to the end. Especially, you know, these Kickstarters that take up so much time and like energy, and like always thinking and looking at the same similar thing over and over again. I get a little bit bored, but I did it once. I could do it again. You know, it's a really good fucking motivation. So I know I've talked about. I don't know if I talked about this on the podcast, but I want to move right to back home in Saskatchewan. And I was looking at places to buy, like just looking at prices, right? And that gets you motivated when you're just like, oh man, if this Kickstarter does good, I could pretty much like buy it, like I could finish paying half a house off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
man.
I think it's really motivating to like put things where it's like big goals in front of you. And like kind of gawk and stare at them a bit, and kind of maybe fantasize about like, and if I do this right, or like this down the line or whatever, like if I get this done and it does well and move on to the next one, like, you know, I could have my own place.
Yeah.
So I think, do you ever do that? Do you ever like kind of like, you're like, ah, man, like you've kind of fantasized about some stuff and you're like, it can be possible to reach. You're like, well, I better get to work now so I can get that thing. Do you ever do that?
I mean, I don't know, kind of, I guess.
What's kind of?
You know, I've talked about like thinking of buying a house and stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
It's pretty crazy in Vancouver, but and so it seems like less viable, but at the same time,
dude, there was a house I saw.
Yeah, I don't know. Sure, there's a way.
$79,000, 2 bedroom, 2 bathrooms, and it was a little over 1,000 square feet. Small, tiny house, but still, it's a fucking house, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's kind of like
crazy.
Yeah,
I think someone died in it. I think someone died in it, and they want to get rid of it.
It might be really old and need some foundation work or something too. You never know.
I don't know.
Like, oh, there's mold in the attic, or there's like.
I don't think there's an attic. But yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, but that's cool. I mean, it's even if it's like an extra 50 grand more than that, it's still a pretty crazy deal.
Yeah.
For a home.
There's a lot of there's some people that put houses up and you're just like, get the fuck out of here with that noise. Just you look at it, you're like, I don't. Why are you asking so much for this fucking garbage house?
Oh yeah,
it's weird.
It's because it's a property, basically.
Yeah, but you look at other houses and you're like, this house looks great, and it's the same price as the fucking other one. I don't know. Some people get it in their mind; they think their property is worth more.
The worst is when this happened when Sam was looking for a place. Like somebody will put up a listing, and then you go to talk to them about it. It's like, oh, you kind of get interested in it, and then like you put an offer down and they're like, no, actually we were thinking for more. Like the counter offer is more than the listing. It's like they want it. It's almost like they're expecting a bidding war. And when it doesn't happen, they're like just shoehorning it in there. It's like, oh, actually, I want more than what I was asking originally. Like, who goes into a negotiation like that? Who isn't like 5? I don't know. It's people get crazy about real estate. It's like, I don't know, man. It's
man.
They say it's the safest thing to invest in, but at the same time, it's super volatile in a way.
It's not the safest thing to invest in. Nothing's the safest. You know what's the safest thing to invest in is like just I don't know, fucking I guess yourself. Like if you're a conservative person with your money, invest in yourself, I guess. Like
I feel that way. I mean, you know, I guess we're not like rich or anything, but we definitely have more like potential now than we did when we were in our mid-20s before we invested in ourselves.
God,
like,
man,
what would we be doing?
Fucking, I look back at myself and I'm just like, God damn, you wasted a lot of fucking time and money and like doing stupid shit and buying stupid shit. And I was just like, ugh, why? Why'd you do that? But whatever.
Like,
when
you're young, you do that kind of stuff.
I don't think I could get to this area if I didn't go through all that shenanigans.
Talking about your Zippo lighter phase.
Oh yeah,
I used to buy those lighters that were like shotgun shaped.
I had like 5.
I don't know why.
Zippos. You know what I mean? Like
when
I was a kid, and like they each cost like $50. You know what I mean? Like just like what? Why did I? And I didn't even smoke.
Yeah, that me either. I didn't smoke either. I just thought they were really cool, and I'd show them to my friends and be like. Oh, you learned tricks though. You took it to the
I was a fucking. I was a. What do you call them? What's a fucking nerd? I was gonna say an edgelord. No,
No, you were like you have a little bit of traveling circus.
A carny? You just called me a carny?
Yeah, you got a little carny in you. You know, you do strongman things on the side. You know, lighter tricks. You got terrible. A little bit of that.
I want to get back into grip strength. Actually, I got my fucking thing here. Give it a squeeze once in a while.
Damn, I could never close one of those things.
Oh, this is just a trainer one. This one's an easy one.
Oh,
this one's like just for like this one's for babies.
Okay, maybe I could close that one then.
Yeah, you probably could. I don't know, but it's I don't know. It takes a lot of time, but. You know, whatever. It is what it is. But what was I gonna talk about? What the fuck we were talking about? Oh yeah, wasting our time and money.
Yeah.
As young men. No, man. I think you can. I think. Houses. That's what it was. It was houses and stuff like that. Yeah. People. But the thing is, like, people look at property and they're like, it's this fucking investment. Blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, how about try to get a place and you know, make it your home and make it a place to live in and like for a long time instead. How about that? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that'd be kind of nice, right?
The way our parents did.
Yeah.
Well, that's there's two, like when you go to buy a home or a house, it's like either you're buying in it and you pay it off so that someday you can live in it without having to pay mortgage, right?
And some people, what they do is like they buy a small place and then they want to sell it for a profit and they move into a bigger place and they repeat.
Or they buy multiple places, right? Because as soon as you put the minimum down payment on, as long as you can make those monthlies, like you can, like if you buy like a $500,000 home and then you put $50,000 in or whatever to get it, then it's like you actually earn your interest earnings on 500,000 and not your investment, which is 50. So it's like if you have a lot of those, you can put like a few $100,000 and then be gaining like $2 million worth of interest, as long as you want to be like a landlord and you have the capital to like invest in all that.
Yeah.
And it's like makes a lot of sense to make a lot of money, but at the same time, it's like, well, then that's your full-time job now. Like that's what you are.
I don't want that. I'll die.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like I'm a creative person. I want to create, right? That's why I think that's why I get kind of like there's a certain point in the Kickstarter, like my last one, and this one too. It's happening right now. I fantasize about like the next project and like what I'm gonna do and like how exciting it's gonna be and stuff, because it's always so exciting to start that next big thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to like just kind of stay on track and like go the full fucking distance. is that I'm a creative person, and I get a lot of joy and I get a lot of energy out of making and creating things. And the part where I have to kind of like song and dance and tap my feet and be like, "Hey guys, look at my stuff. Can you please buy it so I keep a roof over my head?"
Yeah.
That part, it sucks because I gotta like write words and fucking like try to like present myself like properly so I look professional, and write the emails and write people and say, "Oh, thank you, blah blah blah, blah. Oh, if you're interested, you should check this out." Like, "Oh, would you like to join my mailing list?" and all this other stuff. Like that's a completely different mindset towards how you like operate. Like, well, sorry, that's a different type of mindset that I don't have, and I don't operate well on it. Like I don't excel at it, right? So it drains me out, and
I hear you.
So,
and it feels like, I should be like, I got more work to do. Like I could be doing more art right now.
Yeah, I know
and there's an endless amount of work you could put into that too. Like there's no, I'm done. It's actually tomorrow you could post somewhere else, and then the day after you could post somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like you could start up a Twitter and like totally get that all going. You could like invest in DeviantArt and see where that goes. Like it never ends, right?
Yeah. It's it's a fucking weird song and dance. And you gotta do it though. You know what I mean? You can't just sit in your cave and be like, "Well, I'm just gonna make my art, and then I'll just kind of do a little post of I'll take a little screenshot, I'll just like the bare minimum of like a render, you know what I mean? And just like, put it there and like maybe say like, "Oh, it's a rock with a sword in it or something." You know what I mean? You got to like describe things and be like, blah, 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 and make a cool name for it, and like make a cool fucking logo and like a fucking header, and like just like try to like sell yourself.
The sell. The marketing. Yeah. I first like kind of gained of my first like view of the big picture of that one time. I'll leave it like really vague. I was working on a project, and I remember this character was totally complete, and then it was ready for the game, and it was like it got cut because the marketing budget was too much. So it was like, even though we'd done all the work, it's like that all the tail end we're describing, like it's so much that even though the work is done to like promote it and market it and get it out there, it's like, oh, that part's too expensive actually. So it's more cost effective just cut the whole thing, even though it's like basically ready, right? And it's like, man, that's so crazy. Like, and now we're going through that because we're doing our own thing, and it's like you're getting a picture. Like it's not a fix. Like, okay, you do of all the work you do, 1/3 of it is art and 2/3 of it is like customers and public, kind of outreach kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's like you do the art, and then there's an endless amount of marketing you could do, and it's just where do you draw the line? And I feel like I don't know. I know I'm erring on the side of like too little, because my volume of content is so high right now for the amount of time I have to do it. And I don't know. Anyway, we're still doing okay though. Figuring it out.
Hopefully. Speak for yourself.
And the longer we do it though, the more our name's going to be out there, the more we attach ourselves to little projects. It's like, even if they're stinker projects, it's like, a year from now, is it better that existed or didn't exist? You know what I mean? Even if it's not a super big success, it's always better that it's out there. It's like another thing to be Googled if somebody looks you up and be like, oh, they did this too, and they did that. And it's like, I don't know, over time, it's going to get easier. And like this whole industry, like that we're going down this path on, is growing. And I think if we just like can tread water with it, we will rise with the, with the tide.
Yeah.
And,
there's a certain point where I look at this and to compete, there's going to be a certain point where like I'm going to have to like hire like freelance people or like a full-time person from abroad or something like that to help me with this. If I keep doing this, you know, like 3D modeling for 3D printing, which I will be doing for a while. And the thing is like, because there's already teams out there, people like, and you know, and they're getting really successful. And when people see that, they're like, well, you know, bigger companies would be like, well, why don't we do a department where we make our own 3D models for 3D printing?
Oh yeah.
And then do a Patreon and then do a Kickstarter every year. And then we have like 10 people doing it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then also a marketing team and a person that runs the YouTube channel and the person that runs Instagram and Twitter. It's like, fuck, how am I supposed to fucking deal with that? But there's a lot of ways to do it, right? You just gotta be unique.
What might also happen is a big company comes and says, "Oh, hey, Antoine, I really like what you're doing. Can I just buy this from you?"
That'd be fucking awesome.
I think if that ever that happens in games all the time.
Yeah,
and
like publishers, they're like, "Hey, we'll give you 100,000 if you finish this game and give us whatever amount." You know what I mean, dude? I've been learning a little bit about publishing and stuff like that. It's kind of actually pretty fucking shady. Well, sorry, it's not shady. There's people that want to make great games and publishers there. I want to help other developers push their game out, but it's like a pretty big gamble because the more money they give you, the more like it's a bigger risk, right? So let's say a company gives you 100,000 to try to complete this this RTS game you're making, right? Or whatever game. In all contracts, when it comes to publishers, you have to pay off at the beginning. You have to pay off that initial nut of 100,000, and then once that's paid off, then you start getting money from your sales. But also they get a percentage, like a quarterly percentage. Like the first quarter is a certain amount, and the next quarter is like less than that, and like less than that kind of thing. So it's like you got to have a fucking banger, you know what I mean? If you're gonna take that publisher money, right?
Yeah.
Like the first, like these small companies, small developers rather, like the first 2 months, all the money just goes to the publisher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't make anything for 2 months. So that's insane. Like imagine you work on something for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years, and then you put it out. And then you just see the sales coming. You're like, oh, this is great. And then you just see all the money just disappear to the other people. And you're like, I hope there's enough left over. I hope more people keep buying it. I hope they tell their friends to buy it. Please keep buying it.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's a scary thing. But you know, they can, those publishers can help those indie developers and those small companies to like get it out the door and then like help them, you know, generate capital and also generate a following, right? And they get the whole fucking ship moving, the whole train down the train to your destination you want to go, and hopefully that keeps like stacking, and then hopefully sooner or later you won't need a publisher and you can just like put it under your whole name and stuff like that. Actually, sorry, I've been ranting a bit here. I've seen this on My Mini Factory.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they're like a partner or something like that, but there's a person that's selling, or like a small studio that's selling 3D printable files that are all Fallout themed. You know the video game Fallout?
Yeah.
And they're on My Mini Factory, and they have the logos and all that stuff.
Bethesda, or is it? It's just like some guy?
It's some guy, but he's definitely, or it's a company that definitely partnered with I wouldn't say Bethesda, but the other company, the Zonamax or
ZeniMax, yeah.
ZeniMax or something. He must have got the rights for the 3D printing of Fallout stuff, because the stuff looks exactly from like the fucking game. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like well, that's a clear indication that there's people with a lot of with very strong IPs are, you know, slowly coming in, you know.
Yeah.
That's a big IP.
Yeah. I mean, I hope it's legit, I
Yeah.
guess. It must be, right? I don't know. Who knows?
No, it definitely is. Like they have all the like. There's no way in hell that wouldn't get flagged by My Mini Factory. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, when I started with my mini factory, they were like, "Oh, you can't do this. Like, you can't call it a beholder if you make one. It's like blah blah blah."
Yeah.
But I see it all the time. I see it every day. Like, people are making things right out of the D&D manuals, which is something that's like,
Yeah, but they make their own
you
different
can't do.
versions.
Well, yeah, I know, but it's like if you make your own version of Pokemon or Link or or Frozen, it's still like, I don't know. Like, to sell it, I think is technically not allowed. But anyway, I don't know.
All right. What about people that sell their own illustrations of Spider-Man and like Star Wars stuff? You know what I mean? They could do that, right?
I think technically you can't, but no one like bothers to enforce it.
I suppose so. Because that would be I don't know. You would look like a greedy little pig.
Mm-hmm.
If you were like
Yeah,
after like individual like artists being like, stop drawing Star Wars, stop drawing Star Wars, stop drawing Star Wars. We're suing you. We're suing you. We're suing you. And then and then that person, if they have a big following, could just be like, hey, so I have to stop making all the stuff that you guys like because Sony is going to sue me. You know what I mean? So
yeah, is enforcing this your copyright worth the negative blowback?
Yeah,
I'm sure that's just a calculated thing, and at some point, and how much are they really? Is that person really making? What are the damages?
For sure.
So
sure, dog.
Yeah. Anyway,
so what is your plan for this week, Mr. Unemployed?
My plan is to model the characters for the next release. That's my number one. Got to do it.
Yeah.
Stretch goals are do round 2 of the card orders. What I'm doing there is like I'm exploring a slightly larger size of card, but and I'm adding the frame. I think we talked about that last week because I think it just makes it look a little bit more finished.
Yeah.
And then but the thing is, on this next size up of card, for whatever reason, like the minimum order for a deck, which used to be 21, is now 44 cards. And I'm like, do I even have 44 cards yet? I think I'm close. So, I mean, I really want to do a test, but it just means I have to like get more cards prepared, which it's just like, it's not too much work. It's just file handling and
you could do, because you still need to test the like, I don't know if you want to do this, like, because you're going to be spending more money. You still wanted to do some tests on different material, right? Not material, but like it's like a different texture.
Yeah, just a finish. Yeah, for sure. What I'm gonna do for that is I have a feeling that this next deck I order might not be my final test. So I'm gonna pick a different finish than I had last time. I'll use the other cards as like to compare against, and then the next one I'll keep switching it.
Who's this person you're like in cahoots with? Like, who's this company? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's just he's one of my patrons. It's not a company or anything.
That makes the cards?
Oh, the one that makes the cards is it's called Make Playing Cards. They have another website called, I think it's called
from?
Make Board Games. They are, so they like when you interact with them, I believe their stores, it's out of the States somewhere, but I'm pretty certain that their manufacturing is in China.
Of course. Yeah.
But it's an American company. It's like super, I don't know. It's like, I really like everything's really easy to just like go in and price out and theory craft about.
Have you done some math, some hard math on like how much money you need to raise for like how many stuff, and then also like shipping all those fucking cards to Canada? And you know what I mean?
A little bit. So definitely the math on like the cards, the more successful your Kickstarter is, then the more like the better deal you get on the cards, right? Because you're ordering more volume of it.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit.
And then you want to get enough volume to like you have some left over, and like because you've said like, oh, I'd like to sell individual packs on my own like after the Kickstarter's done, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it'd be nice to have a few of my own I could like just kind of bring to the local game stores and whatever. Say, hey, check this out. If you're interested, yeah, here's a few. But and then the shipping, so they actually will fulfill Kickstarters and stuff too, which is pretty cool. They'll like so they won't have I wouldn't have to in that situation. I wouldn't have to have the cards shipped to me and then shipped to the customer.
Really?
Yeah. They'll go direct to your backers. So that's pretty cool.
That's very
and I love that they specialize in board games. Like when you go to their board game side of their store, I'll throw a link in the description to them. But they sell like mats and boards and dice trays and like everything you could think of that would ever be in a board game.
And you can get your own prints on it and stuff.
They have a blank version with a template for you to fill out your art on it.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really fun to just sit there and like, oh, I could do this, I could do that. It's like never been like more just like possible to design your own board game, like whatever you wanted to do.
Well, I've said this before. I want to hopefully one day make my own card game or my own board game.
Yeah, dude. If that's a great place to test it out.
It's so fucking hard because like I'll get an idea in my head and I'll start writing down like this is the win condition and this is the losing condition and blah blah, and I'll start like writing it down and like trying to make it interesting, trying to break it down and simplify it, or try to like make the game in my head. And I'm just like, this game sucks. And
it's hard to make
close the book, and then I'll get another idea like in a couple months, and I'll start writing again, and like, fuck, this idea sucks too. So it's just like the ideas come, but like once I start jotting it down and start breaking it down, like it kind of falls apart. You know what I mean? But that's okay because.
Well, if you ever get to the point where you're like, cutting out paper and making the cards or the chips or whatever you need, I'll totally like play test it with you. I know it's hard to find people. It's hard to find people who want to play test your game and actually take it seriously, but I would totally do that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That sounds good. So seems like you got a lot to do.
Yeah. A lot of little things to follow up on.
Yeah. I myself am going to. You know what?
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna do. I know I just said that I was gonna do the release for this this free model and like the promoting of the Kickstarter page.
Yeah.
On like 2 days from now, but I think I'm just gonna do it now. I'm just gonna get it out of the way so I don't have to worry about it and just like have it happen. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And because like I said, like it's been approved on my mini factory, so it's ready to go. Now I just got to email blast my subscribers on my emailing list that it's up and it's a free model and you should download it and follow the Kickstarter page. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that, and then I got plenty of things to be modeled and 3D printed, and that's about it, my dude.
Cool. I can't wait till the photography stage when you
got
like the set.
I got fun. Quite a bit of things to print, and Also, what I have to do. I have to do so much rendering and breakdowns of renders on how to build the shit because there's so much shit that has to be built.
Oh yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
You basically have to make those like Lego sheets you get when you buy Lego. Yeah. That's like step 1, step 2, like an IKEA thing.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Is it though?
I think when you're done and you see it, I think you'll think it's pretty cool. It's maybe not cool to make.
It's not. In my last Kickstarter, I had to take a bunch of renders of like different things and like, oh, here's some things you can create with my pieces and stuff. And it's just like, it's very important because you want to demonstrate to people like, oh, this is how you can use it, and this is why you should be excited because you can make all this interesting stuff. Like that's the story I'm like trying to tell, right? And it's just, I don't know, it's just time consuming to like try to tell people through imagery, you know what I mean, and text to like this is how you use it, the product. You know what I mean? And
Yeah, you should try to do as much imagery as possible because
I have to because there's so much.
yeah,
There's very like specific like
and
instructions
symbology
how
too.
symbology. What do you mean symbology?
So like instead of if you can find a like it's like in an airplane where it doesn't matter what language you speak, it shows you how to like buckle up a seatbelt without having to read anything, because then you don't have to worry about your region and stuff.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I gotcha.
I think you do a lot of that already, though.
Okay. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. The show is done.
Yes, let's call it. It was a good one. It's a long one, but
Pretty good one.
All right. See you at lunchtime, I guess, my friend. Where can I find you today? This week?
Hey, you can find me on Instagrams. You can find me on My Mini Factory or Thingiverse or the tweets at Forbidden Prince. That's where you can find me.
All one word.
Forbidden? No, not one word.
Oh no.
You got. Well, if you just type in Forbidden Prince, just two separate words or one word, it works. Whatever. Yourself there, handsome.
You can find me also on Instagram and Patreon, as well as Facebook at Tiger Skull RPG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me just thank people for 1 second. Thanks for joining another episode of Playing the Artist. If you want to help out the show, just leave a like or a comment. It helps greatly. If you want to help the show out even more, you can subscribe. And we go live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock Pacific time. And our last show for the year is going to be on the 24th, because then I'm going to Saskatchewan to be in the cold with my parents. And then we'll see you next year. Subscribe or hit the bell thingy if you don't mind. But yeah, Alex, thanks for getting up from your slumbers and chatting with me. And I'm gonna go do my duty and do work.
Sounds good.
All right.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you, everybody. Catch you next Tuesday. Ciao.
Ciao.